But we are talking to Dr. Eve this morning. We're talking about how infertility affects your relationship. And we went out on the streets to ask the question, how would you feel about adoption if your partner wanted children?
I wouldn't adopt a kid. That's just me personally. I want my own kids.
I'm all for adoption. So many kids out there don't have parents. I think if you aren't able to, or if adoption is an option, I definitely say go for it.
I would say, for me, adoption is better than having kids. I don't feel like the world needs more people. Like, there's a lot of us out there, and let's rather take care of what we have than introduce more to the world.
Look, I think it's a good thing as long as there is fundamental consensus between the two people and you agree on it. And if two people are comfortable with having a children that isn't theirs, then why not?
I'd be open to adoption. I think adoption is a great thing. It's a great option for people who aren't able to have kids on their own, and also for the kids who have been adopted to be given a second chance at life. So I'd be open to adoption.
Once again, varied comments and opinions on the option of adoption. But let's talk about some of the pros and cons when faced with adoption.
Some of the pros and cons.
Pros and cons, what are they?
So I think before we even get to adoption, I want people know that there is something called assisted reproductive technologies. And these are very, very advanced ways of getting people to fall pregnant. They're very expensive as well. So one of the emotional burdens that happen for couples who find that they're infertile is that now there is a financial burden. There's a psychological burden, and then there's now a huge financial burden. We want to have a baby, but the cost of it is absolutely astronomical, and probably your medical aid isn't going to be paying for this at all. So therefore, once you've gone through that, and if you can't afford that, which the majority of people really can't, there are clinics, though. I must say that the government does provide infertility clinics. Then the next thing is, of course, to look for adoption. What are the pros and cons? I think it is absolutely uniquely individual and personalised around what people feel. The laws today are a little different. They're a little more lax. So there is access to the biological parents, for example. You can have relationships. So it's kind of a much more gentle approach than back in the day when it was like, that's it, you were cut off from biological parent. You just never ever knew who it was, and felt like a part of you was missing. So, and there's also, wonderful support and societies and NGOs that are available to offer lots of support to parents who are adopting children today. They integrate. I mean, it's just something that parents just absolutely can do. It's less common today. It's very difficult to find children actually to adopt because we have a termination of pregnancy right in this country. So people can have abortions. So there are not a lot of children.
We do have a call on the line right now. Gail from Cape Town. Good morning. Thank you very much for calling us. Please share with us your story.
Well, I had 3 miscarriages, and then I had a suture put in, and my daughter was born, my first daughter. She lived for 7 months. We discovered at 4 months she had biliary atresia, which is a problem with the liver. Then she passed away at 7 months when she was 7 months old, which was a total loss. I then couldn't handle it, and I decided to foster a little girl from a children's home. And then after 5 years of, we had enough care for about 2 years, and then I fell pregnant naturally, and God blessed me with a beautiful son.
Oh, amazing. You, Gail. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
And so to all couples out there, they should never give up hope, because I think that is the only thing we can really cling to.
Absolutely. Gail, thank you so much for calling us and sharing your story with us this morning. So, yes, a story of hope, A
common story that happens once the anxiety, we were talking about anxiety earlier on, once the anxiety goes away, the body's able to relax, the pressure is off you. And oftentimes you hear a story where they adopt a child, foster a child, or just decide we're not going to be falling pregnant anymore, and then a pregnancy will happen. When the whole body is relaxed, the mind is relaxed. It really happens quite frequently.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for being here with us, Dr. Eve. We'll continue our conversation after the break. Remember that our lines are still open, 083-913-3728. We're going to be discussing a very, very important thing after the break, talking about when couples are in that process of trying to conceive a child, how important is intimacy then? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.